that says forms. Again, let me just show you here a different one. Let me go back to the other guy. No, not much. 5. Sorry. Okay, so now we're in John Doe, and we go to the forms. You will notice that there is a ability to print each one of his forms. So I would find the form that I want to print, click on the View button. Now this is going to load a PDF that has had 38 pages of information, so this might be a couple seconds before this page actually loads. But again, in the illustration, I think you can see the general gist that you get the form there, and then you can click on the printer and make a printout of it. You can go back to that tool that is in the assessment toolbar, and it gives you each ability to print one section at a time there. And here now is the complete form. Roll it down and all the way to section Z with the signature area. Okay, this is not, as opposed to the other tool I showed you in the tools, this is not updatable. This is only for a report. It's no updating can happen here. It's only for printing and for filing purposes. Okay. Once the assessments have been put together, it now becomes somebody's responsibility to submit these MDSs to the state or the state authority. So we have a tab called Data Submission. And on that screen, in colors, we give you the 3 things that you need to do to get these books submitted. First is select the assessments you want to submit. Create a zip file containing the information. Again, the way I understand it is now the files are going to be so large because there's so much information going with each assessment has this new technology built into it that we have to zip them first. That means shrink them down to a small size before you can upload them to the CMS's area. And then submit the file. A couple other things between charts and between, I think 2.0 did it this way. It's basically, we will not submit a book that has not been completed. So if you're working on a book, you have no worry that I got to go in here and start deselecting things. If the book is showing here that it's ready to submit, that means it's passed the muster and it's ready to go. You can, if you don't want to do a book, you can click here and put it on hold. And click again and put it back into the play. But so you don't have to worry yourself that somebody asked me before, how am I going to know which books to bring in, the 14-day rule and the this rule and that rule? So long as the book has been completed, we will put it on this list for you automatically and submit it. We also give you these choices up here that, again, in charts, it was that the PPS books sometimes got to go faster than the regular books because you got to get your billing done. And the nurses, the billers are after you get those books in. So I want to be able to just send the Medicare books only, so I can select Medicare only. I want to exclude Medicare. I want to do all the comprehensives without them. And I could include the Medicare and do everything. We also prompt you with the name of MDS3.0 when you create this file. But and that would mean that the next time you come in here, it's going to replace that file with the new file. So you would want, if you want, which I think a lot of people do, is that you might want to just say, 09, 07, 2010, and that way you would have a record of those were the MDSs that were submitted on that day by that file name. So once you get that done, you make sure your assessments are ready to go. You click on Create. And by the way, if you did change any option up here, by the way, I'm sorry, you would click on Refresh to bring in the new, based on the new parameters that you chose. Okay, so I click on Refresh. And then I click on Create. And it says, create a zip file of the assessment listed. I say yes. Then it brings me to this page, which has the files that I've created that I'm going to submit. And then you would click on this green icon. And then you would save that on your local C drive to wherever you normally save the files to send up to CMS. And that would save those records there, and then you'd be able to submit that into the state.
Is there any warning if something's going past the 14 days, locked in there, or for whatever reason, kind of
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. 14 days to say
I mean, that section Z will start highlighting, but only if you have that book open. But those are the kind of things I think we're going to enhance as time goes on. We also have the ability that if you are using an entry into another software, which you shouldn't be doing, but I'm sure some do it, that we have steps in the manual to follow, page 31 through 35, which I'm not going to go through in any detail, but if you need to report MDSs in, that's how you can accomplish those things by following those steps. Okay. I'd like to now go over some of the reports that we offer you guys to run. Now there's only, in the manual, there's actually only mention of this is the fact that there are reports. And it's on page 30, but there's nothing beyond that that gives any screenshots to follow through with what I'm doing. So to watch the screens. Again, my sense is that if you're coming from charts, when you see some of these screens today, they're going to look like they're a little bit overwhelming. But believe me, if you just sit and read them, they really are laid out and make a lot of sense in the way that we do that. So I'm going to start with the second report. The report generator we're going to go through in detail a little later. But I'm going to go through the CMI, which is a very popular report these days because that comes up with your gross reimbursement for Medicaid. And every administrator is always asking, what's my CMI, what's my CMI? And so if you click on that report, we come up with what is the picture date that we're processing this information. Should it be for all residents? Should it be for Medicaid residents only? Should it be for Medicare residents only? And just by selecting the bullet on the appropriate answer. Should I exclude holds? Should I include incompletes? Should I include people on memo? Should I use the Z500B date, or should I use the ARD date as the assessment date? Ignore section S. These are all questions that, time with the other versions of the software we have to go. I can also run it for just a specific unit by selecting on this side the unit. Again, it's going to, a lot of this data that I'm looking at is really a heavy-duty database, so it's going to take a second or two to process. Well, when it does come up, plus I'm looking back 555 days, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense either. Okay, so here it is. Again, most of the residents here do not have any information, but I do want to point out that if you do find, when you're running this for real, you're going to see your resident, and you're going to see a score that the resident has. This guy has a PA1, this one has a CA1. Well, I'm curious to know, again, the same thing like we saw before with that CMI report that we could do. You can click on this, and it will show you right there what caused that to happen. How did that score come to be? Then I click on return, and it brings me back to the actual report. So you can drill down, it's called, on any of the scores and find out how we calculated that score, so in case there's any controversies about those. Again, the same concept here, that you can click on the plus to expand it for our old eyes to see, and we can print it, and we also have the ability to export it to Excel. And you can bring it out to Excel, and then in Excel you can probably do more further manipulation. We're going to click on reports again.